everybody. Welcome to the show, and good morning to you all. As you can see, we're doing something a little bit different here today. I got my headset on. Video is not as good a quality. It's we're doing our actual first Zoom, and hopefully this will be the first in a long list of people that are farther distance away that can't get here for an interview. And I'm really looking forward to doing this one today. But before we get into that, we're going to go ahead and do a tattoo submission. And this was actually submitted by Chris, who was on the show prior. And it's a pretty cool tattoo. It's a little plain, but the meaning behind it's awesome. So, like this is what I was saying to you guys before. It doesn't have to be the most elaborate tattoo for a tattoo submission. It's just got to be something cool that you like or something that's got a lot of meaning. So if you have a tattoo submission, please reach out, soberontwowheels@gmail.com, and submit your tattoos. Just remember, two is actually spelled TWO, soberontwowheels@gmail.com. So here we go. We're going to pull up the first one, and I'm actually going to read it because it's a little bit long, and I want to make sure that I got the right words for this. So Chris wrote, I would always worry so much about stuff, never realizing the only things I can change is me. So my sponsor told me about Rule 62. The Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous discusses many steps that are involved in the recovery process. Rule 62 in recovery refers to the rule of don't take yourself too damn seriously. Someone in recovery doesn't always realize that they can relish their life again without the use of alcohol. Rule 62, folks. Chris lives by it so much that he actually got it tattooed on his arm. And it's pretty cool. I was actually there when he got it. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and move on to our interview for today. And again, if you guys are looking to do a submission or would you like to get on to do an interview for the show, please reach out to me via Gmail at soberontwowheels@gmail.com. I hope you enjoy the interview, and I'll see you all soon. Hey, everybody, I want to welcome you out to the show today. We got a great interview set up with a brother of mine, Darren S. Darren's been around for a little bit of time now, and he works a good solid recovery program, and he's also been riding for quite some time, so he fits the mold for the show that we're trying to do here. What's up, man? How are you?
I'm good, brother. I'm good.
Hey, man, and I appreciate you doing this. So this will be our first time doing a Zoom recording. Typically we've been doing them in person. Darren lives far south Maryland, so for us to meet together is a little bit rough. So this is perfect for us to try to do. And I've been wanting to try to hook up with you, man, because you and I connected almost immediately as soon as you started hanging around. Darren reminds me a lot of the dudes I grew up with, man, back home. So thanks for doing this, man. I appreciate it. I know you had to run around a lot today to get here on time. So it's much appreciated. How long you got sober now? What's your clean time?
I got so November 7th, 2019 is my clean date. So just shy of 3 years by about a month.
Right on, brother. Congratulations, man.
Mm-hmm.
And was this your first time, second time?
So trying to get sober, yeah, it was my first time, man. I was 32 years old, and I had nothing, man. I had worked my entire life and, worked my dick in the dirt for absolutely nothing, and I had, what we like to call in the program a gift of desperation. And, I walked in and I say it all the time, man. I shut my mouth and I listened for the first time in my life.
Right.
So,
yeah, man, sometimes that's all it takes too, dude, right? I mean, you've been running and gunning so long. If you just stop a minute and realize what's really going on around you, it all of a sudden it just starts to click, man. It's like,
yeah.
I've been going 1,000 miles an hour for so long.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, I don't know why, I don't know how, and I don't know when it clicked for me, man. It just did. And You know, people could have talked to me till they were blue in the face. You know, I didn't want to hear that. You know, but
I mean, that's like me, dude. I don't know. It just clicked one day with me too. I just woke up one day and went, you know what? I don't want to do this no more. And I think that was pretty much it. That's all it took. You know, I'm making it seem easier than what it was, but don't get me wrong. I wanted to quit. You know, I got tired of playing the games and you know, having to wake up and make excuses and all kinds of shit. So I could definitely, you know, appreciate that. And then you're are you NA or AA?
So I've worked the program of AA.
Okay.
You know, that's just down here. That's where I found home. That's where people opened their arms for me. You know, I don't have any issues with any other program. What works for you is what works for you.
Yeah.
You know, in my story have I got plenty of everything in my story. You know, so I could have found a home just about anywhere, but I worked the 12 steps of AA.
Well, right on. Yeah, I mean, I guess I wasn't real heavy into drugs, but I did my share of them. You know, I wound up going to AA because at the end, that's really what my problem was. Like, you know, by the time, I don't know, I was probably hitting my 30s, mid 30s. I'd kind of stopped doing drugs because I was trying to get like, you know, good jobs, and I had to go take piss tests and all that stuff. So it was like, you know, you can't be doing that. You're trying to take a piss test. But, you know, I kept drinking. So at the end, that's really what my issue was. But, you know, I've found recently over the past, I don't know, probably 2 years, the Gray Book, man. You know, Freddie, who was on the podcast with me, he actually turned me on to it, and I like it. I like how it's kind of dumbed down, and I don't mean that in a negative way though. It's more layman's terms. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Oh, I have one.
Yeah. And I know you do, and I know, like, you know, softball, a couple other people do. It just seems to me like it's written by us, man. Like, it's not, you know, like when you're reading a blue book and it's like, you know, they're using old school words that we don't use anymore, or even maybe some bigger words that if you're not, you know, your vocabulary is not up to snuff, man, you're gonna have to, dude. Look, man. You know, I'm educated and all that, and I still had to use the guy. I'm like, okay, yeah. You know what I mean? And then once you look it up and you put it in the right context, you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense now. All right, but it just seems to me that those guys wrote that, and they didn't have to use all those big words. They were just like, look, this is how we are. This is what we do. Boom. Now, did you go to any kind of rehab or anything, or did you?
Yeah, I did. I had to. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Man, I'm sorry, brother.
Did your iPad die?
It's plugged in. It literally is plugged in. I don't know, but either way, I'm here. So you asked about rehab, and yes, I did. I journey started with they call it a stabilization center down here. It was just pretty much a kind of like a detox, and then you know, found my way into a rehab facility for 21 days. And, you know, that's where my journey began, man. I tell people all the time, I was in there. Some people hate rehab. Some people like it. Everybody's got a mixed story, but, man, for me, I was on my own for so long. They told me when to wake up. They told me when to go to the bathroom. They told me when to go to class. They told me when I was going to eat. They fed me. They gave me my medicine. The only thing they didn't do was wipe my hiney for me. You know? So like I was just carefree. Right. And I just listened to what they had to say, man. And you know, a lot of it, you know, I still go to that place today as an H&I commitment. And, you know, because I feel as if that place really helped save my life.
There you go, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, how did you wind up, after you got, you know, I'm assuming you got a little bit of clean time under your belt. How did you wind up hooking up with softball?
So softball, he's known me for quite some time now.
Okay.
Even in my, you know, my rough days, we played ball together down here, and he was the very first person that I called. I called him while I was in rehab, actually. And, you know, we talked for a bit, and as soon as I got out, man, he had my new number, and we were talking and linking up and going to dinner, and you know, he tried getting me to come hang around I was about 2 months sober, and just wasn't. I wasn't there yet.
Right.
I just wasn't there yet. And but yeah, he's seen me in the depths of it, and he's seen me trying to climb the ladder out of it. So it's pretty cool.
Well, I tell you what, though, I mean, you probably couldn't have picked one of the better dudes to glom onto, because he is hardcore in the recovery, and he's also all about the lifestyle. And so that was a perfect pick for you. I mean, obviously you knew him beforehand, but I've seen him work with other people and stuff like that, and he's just a solid dude all the way around, and I give him mad props for that. And I know that down your way, recovery is pretty big. I mean, I've met multitude of different people from even from other clubs and stuff like that. So I know that there's a good, I guess, group of people down that way, which is cool, man.
Yeah.
And then, like, so did you wind up, is you your sponsor?
He's not.
Okay.
And it's funny because when I was in rehab, they gave us these composition books to write our feelings down and our, this and that. And I have them numbered, and day 3 was contact Patrick, and I called him Coach Pat because he was my coach, but contact Patrick and ask about being an NA sponsor. I was in rehab for drugs. I truly was. And it took 14 days for me sitting in there to realize that I was never going to be able to drink again either. 14 of 21 days, I sat in there thinking I was going to go back out and have a couple drinks, and come to find out after hearing some experiences and some strengths and hopes from people, that ain't the case, especially for a guy like me.
Now, did you go through that process while you're in there? Like, man, what am I going to do for fun now?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I did everything. I mean, from all the way down to like taking a shower with a beer.
Yeah.
Like, everything I did revolved around, drugs and alcohol. And, it's funny. I was talking to my uncle the other day, and it's, he's done successful. He's done well for himself. And I was like, how do you have that vision, man? Like that vision to see these things and to make these ideas come true. And he told me, and we got talking, and I started thinking about it. I was like, I've been blinded. My eyes have been blurred for forever, for my entire 20s, my entire adulthood. I've been blinded by that drug, that alcohol. That's all that ruined, that ran my life. Everything that I did revolved around it.
Right.
Never had it.
Yeah. So I mean, once you get a clear head and then you start to get a little drive back in you, which doesn't also come real quick either.
No.
I mean, I would say that I'm fairly driven now, but I would probably say that didn't come up for 2-3 years, maybe, where I got to the point where I was like, okay, man, look, I don't want to live like, not that I was living bad, but I want to keep moving up the ladder, man. I want to do this. I want to do this. And, it was, I think it was the initial getting past a lot of stuff like, hey, man, what am I going to do for fun now? Having to deal with feelings for a while, having to get like regimented in a constant like home group, meeting with my sponsor, all that stuff. Like, and I put a lot of that off at the beginning because I didn't go through a program like you did. So yeah. I did everything on my own. And to be honest with you, at the beginning, I went a route that I probably shouldn't have went. And I should have picked somebody that was more in tune with me to get into the program. And I didn't really find that until I went to Arizona. So I half-assed it for the first probably like 2 years of my sobriety. I was going to meetings and stuff like that, don't get me wrong, but I was half-assing it. I wasn't really doing everything you're supposed to be doing.
Right, yeah.
And there is no shortcuts, man. As much as everybody wants to sit and act like, there might be somebody out there that got away with it and whatever, but there is no shortcuts to this, dude. There is a whole process that, rewiring your brain to think right, because you spent all them years thinking wrong. And it's crazy because even now later on, as I'm 8 years now, And December, I'll hopefully, God willing, I'll have 9. But it's funny because now even I look back at things, and I was actually just having this discussion about how my whole life I actually thought I had a normal childhood and normal this, normal that. And now that I'm sober and I look back at things and all this other stuff, not that I had a bad childhood, don't get me wrong, I wasn't abused or anything. I had good parents, but I didn't have a normal childhood. And it's crazy when you think about that, because then you also look at your life in general and go, man, I didn't have it normal. I wasn't living normal. The shit that we thought was normal is not normal, because
Right.
cunning, baffling, man, it's dude, it skews your brain thinking that this is normal, and it's not. I actually, how long did you have before you started hanging around with us?
So I was 7 months sober when I met you all.
Because, and the reason why I asked that was because I was just getting ready to say, dude, like, I've seen a huge change in you since the beginning to now.
Yeah.
And I don't even mean that in club aspect. I just mean in life general. You know what I mean? I don't know much about your work and stuff like that, but like I see what you're going through with your girl. You got a new boy. You're obviously committed to going to meetings and doing in service. And I know damn for sure that you're committed to the club.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You guys ride 3-4 hours out of your way to attend an event in Philly just because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And, man, there's a lot of people out there that wouldn't do that. But there's also a lot of people out there that can't do clubs.
Yeah.
Club life ain't for everybody, man.
I was just talking about that today.
Yeah, I mean, look, there a lot of people have this like thing in their head where they're like, it's a great idea, it looks good on paper, and then when it comes down to doing it and putting in the work to get it, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Look, I tell people all the time that ask me. I don't go around preaching about the club, but when people walk up to me and ask me, as long as they're asking me general questions, like, I'm not going to give them the good shit. But look, hey man, well, look, it's a commitment. It ain't cheap. That's for damn sure.
Hell no.
And you're about to give up a lot of your life. Personal stuff that hey man, I'd like to do that, but you know what? I gotta be here. Like, I just missed, I think, it was my 30th high school reunion on Saturday.
Yeah.
But I was at our thing, doing our thing, because that was more important to me. I wasn't really like broken up about it, but hey, what the fuck, but yeah, man, it's a commitment, dude, and it's not for everybody.
Yeah, 100%. I was told early on by a couple of predecessors, and they've both been on this podcast, man. And they looked me straight dead in my eyes, and they were like, "This ain't no fucking t-shirt club."
Right.
And I took that to heart. I really did, and I talk about it all the time. And I took that to heart, and I know what they mean. I've seen what they mean by that, and they definitely, they talk the talk and they walk the walk. You know what I mean? And it is a very big commitment. And for me, I wasn't in a relationship when I started in the club, and I got real honest real quick, and it comes from my recovery world. But it's like, look, this is what I do. This is what this is who I am. This is what I do. And I'm going to continue to do that. Like, if this isn't going to work, let's just go ahead and get it all out on the table right off Jump Street.
Right.
And I haven't had any issues, Yeah, like you said, I got a baby boy now, the old lady, and it's a balancing act, man. And it's all about growing for me, man. It's all about growing and changing and trying to balance life today, but the beautiful thing is I have a life to balance.
Right.
And
big change.
And that just comes from doing the right things, man, and not that old brain of mine.
It's crazy how, and I tell this to new guys all the time, how prospecting will actually do that to you. So you'll go through shit as a prospect and you'll be like, why am I doing this? This is pointless. But in reality, it's a tried and true thing, and they don't see the bigger picture. So you saying that right there just proves it, right? So before, there may have been times where you were like trying to balance everything and you were like, what the fuck, dude? What am I doing here?
Yeah.
But now you see it and you go, I get it. And that's the stuff that people just don't get either. Like you do need to find your groove, man, and to just balance life. And I think that goes even with recovery, dude. Like, I think that there's those people that go full tilt, dude. They're going to, a meeting a night, which is nothing wrong with that. Look, I'm not going to poo-poo that. Look,
Yeah.
that's cool if that's what you want to do. But to me, I don't think you should ever be trading one thing for another. Like, instead of going to the bar every night, now you're going to a meeting every night. You're using it for the socialization of it instead of the trying to get your head straight. Which is, look, man, if that's what you do, that's just fine too. Because I went through my spell of doing that where I was hitting meeting, man. Sometimes I was hitting 2 a day out in Arizona.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
My early recovery, and I'll say this, I did turn it into that, right? I traded one for the other in my early days. And for a solid 18 months, I would say, my dude, they told me to go to 90 and 90 and I didn't have anything else to do. And around here I can do it. I went to 3-4 meetings a day.
Right.
Because I didn't understand how these people were doing it. I'm like, how are they staying sober? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. But that first 18 months of going to those meetings, whether it was social hour or whether I was listening, helped build the foundation that I can stand on today,
For sure.
And no, I don't have to go to a meeting every day.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't absolutely have to today because I have a network of people. I've done the things that they told me to do.
Right. You got a good foundation.
Right.
And that's the key, man. Right. Like, it's getting that foundation. And I've seen, there's a guy that used to be at my Tuesday night meeting, man. Like, he went from doing and running and gunning down right to, he turned into a gym addict.
Yeah.
And he was working out all the time, man. And we were like, yo, man, you're like killing yourself, dude. Like, but if that's what it took for him, that's cool. And the other reason I ever say that is because there was a time where I was in a meeting and it was an older gentleman that was sitting there, and he said, we were actually talking about this subject, and I don't remember the actual way it came about. But at the end of it, he said, look, I'm going to tell you something. When I go and I'm dead in that coffin, and the only people that are there in that room are you guys here from this room, then I failed.
Yeah.
And I went, wait a minute, man. Isn't, and he was like, he looked at me and he goes, no, dude. This is about teaching you how to correct yourself, get straight, get right, and live your life. So if the only people I know are in his room, that means I didn't go out and live. I didn't get corrected. I didn't fix myself, and I didn't go out and live. Meaning, you're going to meet other people that are not involved with this, and you're going to meet these people and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, huh, okay. And then it just dawned on me that he was talking about like the people that just, hey man, now everything is like every night's a meeting, dude. And I'm like, you know what, man? That's cool. I get it. That dude was like in his 70s and he had 50 years of sobriety.
Yeah.
You've been sober longer than I've been alive, dude.
I just wish I could live that long.
I could only hope, man. I can only hope. And you know what? I feel like getting clean and sober gave me a shot.
Absolutely.
A shot that I know I definitely wouldn't have had. And, me, I just went to the doctor's last Friday, dude, and it's living proof that it gave me a shot because I went in there and, all my liver numbers are good. Mm-hmm. All the stuff that was starting to look pretty negative for me when I was still running and gunning.
Yeah.
Those are things that I go, okay, man, look, these are all positive things that have happened. And it's weird how, you know, life steers you the right way sometimes, just for no reason at all. And
Yeah.
you and I were just talking about that, about like, you know, I said I was going to that meeting and we were talking about, you know, letting go and letting God lead and blah, 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 and or your higher power, whatever, you
Yeah.
know, and, you know, those are things that, you know, we would have never let that happen. It was what I wanted when I want, you know what I mean? And it's very humbling to not be self-centered and selfish and, you know, help your brother instead of yourself.
Yeah.
But no, man, so that's awesome, dude. And I'm glad that, you know, you got a solid foundation down there, a solid group of people, and you're definitely moving in the right direction. And I know your family's proud of you, man, because I've been around with your family. And
Yeah.
that makes it cool to see too, dude, is, you know, families finally getting to see the good stuff.
Oh yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
There's nothing better than knowing my mom can put her head down at night, man, and know her boy's doing what he's supposed to be, and not having to worry like she did for many, many years.
yeah, man. That's a huge plus, right? I mean, you know, I'm thankful my mom got to see it. You know,
Yeah.
she's still with me, and you know she's getting older, but I'm glad she got to see me, like, you know, sober and get my shit straight and, you know, doing the right thing.
Yeah.
But let's get into riding, man. How long you been riding?
Dude, I've been on bikes since I was a kid, man. You know, but I don't know years, but I'm
Right.
35, so you know I've been riding bikes and dirt bikes and motorcycles since I was a little kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what about like when you finally got on the street, dude? What was the first bike you had?
First bike on the street was actually rode my stepdad's '79 Super Glide. That was, that thing was old school kickstart. Uh, it was neat, man. But like my own personal bike was my Softail. I had an '01. I got an '01 Softail. Uh, Built it up. I actually blew that bike up before I got, while I was still using.
Okay.
Um, and then tried to get it put back together and all that good stuff. But yeah, it was my '01 that I had first.
Right on. And then what you got the street glide now, right?
Yeah, I got my 2020 Street Glide, man. But you know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
I wish I had a road glide. I bought the darn thing. 2 weeks later, I was getting bars put on it. Rode a road glide, and was hating myself, kicking myself for it. But I love my bike, man. You know, obviously, I'm constantly on it, man. We always put miles on. That's what we do. Um, there's nothing better. I love it. It's where I go and get free.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I throw that helmet and mask on, dude, and jam out, and just I
Definitely
love it.
clears your head, man.
Oh, for sure.
Definitely
Yeah.
clears your head. And you know what, man? I always didn't appreciate road glides until I got one. And I gotta be honest with you, man, I'll never buy anything but a road glide going forward. I mean, you know, I
Yeah.
know you and I have been joking around because I bought the new 22 that you wanted, but you know, dude, your time will come, man. You'll figure it out.
Oh
Go
yeah.
from there, dude. You know, so what made you decide that you wanted to be a part of a club, man?
So really, man, like I said, it was early on. He was trying to get me. He being Patrick softball. I was like, I'm good, man. I'm good. And I hit him up. I got my '01 fixed, right? Just had it rebuilt, and it in April of 20, and in August of 20, I hit him up, and I was like, man, my bike's making some noise, blah blah blah. And he's like, bro, take my trailer, bring it down the road. I got a couple of guys, coming down the road, and we'll check it out. I show up with my bike on his trailer, and there's like 15 of you guys there, man, like 15 or 20 of you guys there. Little event down this backyard, and I hung out for the day. You know what I mean? We checked the bike out. I hung out for the day, and I was like, "You son of a bitch!" I was like, "What?
Hooked you.
What? got to do. I've been around bikes. I haven't much been around the motorcycle world, the club world per se.
Mhm.
Too much, but I had been around bikes and all that kind of stuff. So I knew that I'd fit in that aspect of it. I knew the riding aspect, I'd be all right. But yeah, I was like, what do I got to do? And he told me what I needed to do, man. Check us out. We'll do this. We'll take a ride.
Yeah.
And those my early days. A ride meant to PA we go, and we came up the road, man, and I just you talked a little bit about prospecting earlier, and I just that was one of the most humbling experiences of my life, doing that stuff. I have a therapist down here, and she could absolutely not believe that I put that on and was doing what I was doing. Like, to her, to see me do that was like, wow. And I had my life since I was about 2 months sober, so she couldn't believe it, man. But it was truly humbling. And, just to keep my mouth shut and just take it all in, I loved it. I did. I didn't mind it at all. Did I screw up? Did I mess some things up? Absolutely. But did I take it on the chin and learn my lesson and try to do what I need to do the next time? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's definitely humbling, man. And, I think that that's where part of it, like, just teaching you, like you just said, man, taking it on the chin, like owning up to it. Hey, all right, man, I screwed up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't think that I was in any position to do that prior to doing that. You know what I mean? And
no.
I feel like that process actually made me a better man. For sure.
I'll second that for sure.
Yeah. And I'm glad I stuck it out. I'm glad I did it. And it's been one of the greatest things that I've ever done. I learned a lot from those older guys that were around, and been through thick and thin with it since the beginning. And it's very cool to see. It's very cool to be a part of. And, man, I always look at it like I got a shit ton of brothers now that I got to call. If something's wrong in my world, I can call and be like, hey, man, just want to talk.
Yeah.
And look, hey, you might have friends that you can do that with, but there's a special bond that you have with somebody that you earn a patch with or for.
Yeah.
And it's a different level, definitely a different level. And I'm happy that you did it, man, because you wound up being a great brother.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that you're rolling good, and you got a cool little boy, and you seem like great girl, and man, that's how it works out, dude. I mean, it's just like putting the time and the effort to make things right, and get your world straight. And it's always an interesting process too, watching new guys come in, and now you're starting to experience it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you get to see the new guys come in, and you have those moments where, like, hey, man, this is going to be a teachable moment. It's not necessarily an ass chewing, ripping up one side down the other, but it's pull them off to the side. Hey, man, look, this is what you got to do. And it's taking that time to it's almost like AA, right? Or NA. It's like taking that time to work with somebody to kind of spread the word and be like, these are the things that you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, I definitely appreciate you doing this for me, man.
Yeah.
And, it sucks that we couldn't do it in person. But, hey, there's going to probably be a bunch of these going forward, because I got guys from Texas, California that I want to hit up to do these with. And obviously, I'm not going to be having anybody flying. They ain't that kind of podcast, dude. I got that. My name ain't Joe Rogan, dude.
I heard
But,
that.
It's I did this because I wanted to show people that we're out there. And there's plenty of sober clubs out there. And, you know, till this day, we still have people walking up to us going, hey, man, I didn't even know there was a sober club.
It was me.
Yeah. I mean, look, you know, I think it's been cool, man, with this podcast. And, you know, I had a couple of people come up to me at the event that were like, yo, dude, I seen your podcast. And that's right there is awesome.
Yeah.
Because now it's hitting people that, you know, man, maybe I normally wouldn't get to see.
Yeah.
And, you know, those guys decided to come to the pig roast because of it. You gotta appreciate that, man. And, you know, I just want to thank you for taking your time out of your busy day to do this, man.
Yeah, man, anything.
And is there anything that you know, I didn't bring up that you think you should talk about or you want to bring up?
I think you did pretty. I think you got it all, man. You know, other than you know, you talked a lot about, you know, we were talking about like experiences and stuff, right? And I don't want to burn up too much of the clock here, but life is all about that for me today. Like learning from the guys, like when people tell me something today, I truly take it in and not go, yeah, whatever, dude, you know, like I used to. And it's, and I've found that life experiences is how we get ahead. That's how, you know, somebody's already learned. So why don't you just take a little bit of advice, dude? And, you know, that's something that I enjoy today. You know what I mean? So,
well, I tell you what, that's a big thing though, right? I mean, if you think about it, how often would you have taken advice back in the day?
never.
Right. Because, you know, we knew everything. We knew how to do everything.
Yeah.
You know, nobody could tell us any different.
Yep.
And, you know, unfortunately, that attitude and mentality put some of us in some bad situations.
For sure.
You know, and we don't have to live like that no more, which is a beautiful thing, man.
Love it.
And, you know, now you get to enjoy your days off with your kid and whatever, and or, you know, spend days hanging out with your club brothers and stuff like that. And, you know, man, I have people walk up to me sometimes and be like, hey, you ever think about drinking? And I'm like, hell no. Hey, first of all, I'm you know, because I'm far enough out, I think, at this point. But I think that if it even came across, the first thing I would think of was, I'm not giving all this up to go do that.
Yeah.
It's not worth it to me, man. Yeah. I got more shit now, you know, than I've ever had by being clean and sober and doing the right thing.
That's right.
And it's not worth giving up for. You know, it's not worth giving up a patch that I worked hard to earn.
There ain't nothing in this world, brother. And I can say this today with fucking confidence, man. There is nothing in this world that makes me go, that sounds like a good idea.
Right.
Nothing. And I've been through quite a bit in a short period of time, man. And there's, you know, and I'm dealing with, you know, a loss, you know, there's nothing in this world. There's no excuse for me today. And I was full of them before I got clean.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
And I'm proud to call you brother, man.
Yeah, me too. Love you, bro.
Love you, dude. And thank you again for doing this, man. And thank you for the folks that stuck it out to the end. And we appreciate the likes and subscribes. And please, you know, make sure you stick around to the end and click on one of our other videos. And I hope to see you all next week. So thank you for stopping by.